Hello, everybody. My name is Professor Dr. Prof.Arlt. I'm the CEO of COTRI, China Outbound Tourism Research Institute. This is the editorial of COTRI Weekly, 22nd of June, 2021. The topic today is carrying capacity. Professor John Up, Professor and Director of the Global Center for Tourism Education and Training at the Macau Institute for Tourism Studies, an old China tourism hand, told a journalist of the South China Morning Post recently the following, and I quote, "Assuming ongoing uncertainty, tour operators will have to be flexible and resilient and provide more experiences that are tailored and exclusive. What sort of experience do we want to provide? That's the key. More is not necessarily better. Travel will not be about numbers, but about quality. Chinese tourists will look at the carrying capacity of destinations and businesses to safely accommodate and be able to offer a good experience, not a crowded one." I fully agree with my friend John, especially as he introduced a term which is very helpful, carrying capacity. If you enter it in Google, Mama Google wants you to use carrying capacity instead. And if you insist on the original term, what you find is related mostly to geriatrics, like an article from 1999 called "Three-Phase Development of Carrying Capacity in Primary Caregivers for Relatives with Alzheimer's Disease." Switching to Google Scholar does not help either. Therefore, I feel free to incorporate the term into our model of meaningful tourism. Carrying capacity is easy to define for any service which involves either entry tickets or a number of seats, like in a restaurant, etc. And in most cases, the local health and safety department will have been giving a clear definition and a maximum of what is your carrying capacity. To define the carrying capacity of, let's say, a city like Barcelona is much more trickier. And as we saw before the pandemic, tourism service providers and local communities did violently disagree on which numbers of visitors is still acceptable. The term of carrying capacity, we move from quantity to quality. How many, especially international visitors, can be received by a destination in a way that the guests still feel welcome? This has little to do with square meters and available hotel beds, etc., but it has a lot to do with the attitude and the expectations of both the guests and the hosts, with the information available and also with the form of tourism prevailing. Discussing the carrying capacity of a place for a specific group of visitors, Chinese for instance, and how to improve it, measure it, and control it will provide much more meaningful strategies than, for instance, the so-called donut economy strategies, for which is used by cities like especially Amsterdam. This city has adopted ordinances that variously prevent souvenir shops from displacing local businesses and prevents developers from turning residential spaces into short-term rental flats, and also prevents new hotels from being actually built. Furthermore, it has hiked up the tax tourists have to pay for overnight stays. Such a concept may please the richer citizens of Amsterdam, the lawyers and the dentists, who do not need to work in tourism jobs. But it is a concept which is not in line with a sharing economy. Amsterdam clearly does not belong exclusively to the Amsterdammers. It belongs to everybody. Certainly, the people living in tourism hotspots were happy for a few months in the pandemic to have tranquility in their cities and on their islands. However, the solution is not no tourism. The solution is better tourism, which creates positive encounters and creates jobs for host and guest. Building walls against Mexicans on land, like in the United States, or against refugees on the shores of the Mediterranean Sea, as the EU is doing, or in the form of gated communities in cities, is no long-term solution, rather the opposite. Let's build our mutual caring capacity instead. As always, best wishes from me and the whole COTRI Weekly team. Thank you and goodbye.